the TST R002 moped style e-bike. Today we're gonna check this thing out, guys. I've been riding this guy a lot, and it's been a little bit of an up and down ride, I'll tell you that much. So it hasn't all been perfect, and I've definitely pushed it past what I think most of your average riders would do with this guy, as far as riding it down some pretty serious trail riding, jumping it, and just pushing the limits on it, actually trying to see what it would take to break this thing. So I have broken a couple things on it, but all in all, I'm pretty dang happy with my TST R002 because it's honestly like my funnest e-bike to ride, because it rides the most like a motorcycle, and that's what's kind of cool about it. You really feel almost like you're on just a little motorcycle, a little moped when you're riding this thing. So they definitely nailed it with the styling as far as that goes, with the moped styling. The other thing that I really enjoy about this particular e-bike is this really nice, big, comfy seat that it's got. This thing is just so comfortable, guys. And you've got a rear included passenger seat. So we could ride a passenger or put some cargo back there. That is awesome. It's my only e-bike that I've got that has a passenger seat, and it works. I've ridden passengers on this thing, and that's fun too. Makes it even, again, more like an actual motorcycle. We've got a full suspension, and it actually works. It smooths out the ride. Definitely this thing will ride the bumps a lot smoother than my hardtail e-bikes. We've got disc brakes all the way around, Shimano shifters. It's got a 1500 watt motor, and it says it'll do 65 miles per charge. Now, when I'm riding it, it does not do that because I don't like to pedal a lot. So I'm getting maybe 25, 26 miles per charge on this guy, riding around the hilly up and down sort of terrain around here. And so it's definitely not meeting their spec as far as how far you're gonna get, but that's typical with most e-bikes. But one thing that it does actually exceed is their spec or their claim on max speed. This guy, they say he'll do 32 miles an hour. Now, in order to do that, you do have to get inside of it and kind of tweak it or hack it, as it were, get in the software and unlock that option. So what you got to do is depress the brake, hold the plus and minus at the same time, and pressing the power button. Turn the bike on that way, and what happens is it comes on into this mode where you've got this line right here flashing. Once you've got it turned on and that line is flashing, you press the plus and minus buttons simultaneously to get into your menu. You press the headlight button to cycle through the menus, get to P3. Factory, it comes with 0. You press the up button to change it to 1. Now you've got this guy in high power mode. But once you do that, this thing will not only do the 32 miles an hour that they claim, but I've actually pushed it all the way up to 34 miles or 35 miles an hour just under the throttle alone, which is pretty dang awesome. So it's got all your typical stuff that you see on a lot of e-bikes these days, the standard sort of screen, standard buttons and controls and throttle. We've got hydraulic disc brakes. It's got a headlight. Headlight works. Out of all my e-bikes, it's probably not the most brightest, I guess, or the least brightest to say, but it works and it's there. One thing that this guy actually has that's pretty dang cool that none of my other e-bikes have is a brake light. So you've actually got a brake light that functions when you pull the brake levers, which is nice for riding around traffic. Just makes it a little bit more safe that way. So far, I bet this thing is sounding pretty dang sweet, right? And you guys are thinking, man, that R002 is looking awesome. And it is pretty awesome. But there are a couple of things that I would just throw out there just to warn you guys about on these bikes, because this is, as far as these moped style bikes go, it's definitely in the budget category. You know, these are only like maybe 800 or a little over 800 bucks, I think, which if you're looking at competitors like this, you're looking at $1,500, $1,600, like double the price. So why is this one so much less than the competition? Well, I think they used some components in certain places that maybe were just not as high of grade or high of quality. So the problems for me have all been just around the crankset. So basically on the on this side here, this pedal kept falling out. It would just fall out and fall out and fall out. And so what I noticed was that the crank was actually stripping. The threads were stripping out on the crank. And so I thought, well, let's see if we can get a different pedal on there with a little bit longer threads to kind of try to grab into the threads on the crank more. And I stole this one off of another bike I had laying around, threaded it in there really tight, and so far it's been working. But I might end up eventually just having to replace this crank set is what I'm thinking. Now the other thing is, again, to do with the crank, over here on this side of the crank keeps coming loose, just incessantly coming loose. Now, see how loose that is? This screw right here, that one, started working its way out on my ride. I think I might have it tight enough. I put obviously an Allen key in there, and I got a really long torque bar and just torqued the heck out of this right there. And now I've put another 7 or 8 miles on it so far, and it hasn't come off. Same thing with that pedal. But that's happened. So if I wanted to have potentially avoided that in the first place, I would have needed to kind of go through and just Loctite stuff as I assembled this e-bike. Speaking of Loctiting, same kind of thing happened once with the rear wheel here. I thought I had these tightened down as tight as they could get, tight as they needed to be, torqued them to, I don't know, but a good torque, right? Riding along on a dirt trail, lo and behold, the rear tire falls off of the e-bike and obviously disconnects from the motor and kind of messed up a few things. So I guess I'm just saying that with these, you know, more budget-ish e-bikes, you just got to be careful. You got to make sure that you get everything tight and Loctited. Otherwise, you're going to potentially have things come loose on you. Oh yeah, and one of the screws on the rear seat came loose and fell out, and the rear seat was kind of, you know, buzzing as I would go over bumps. I'm like, what's that sound? Oh, the rear seat came loose. So I had to throw another bolt in there and really make sure that I had all of those tightened, torques down really good. So I guess I think that's it as far as things that have come loose on this. Oh no, that's not it. Yep, actually this right here, the mud, you know, the mud flap here on the rear tire has this bracket that comes down and a screw that holds it into the frame right there. That screw came out, so right now I've actually got it held on with a zip tie and some baling wire. So that's it. That's all the stuff that's come loose on the bike. That does not mean that this thing is like trash or just junk by any means, at least in my opinion, guys, because it still has all the good stuff going for it that I told you about in the first part of the video. The low price. You're not going to get all of this, I don't think, with many other competitors for the $800 that these TSTs are. Full suspension, nice comfy seat, rides out like a motorcycle. I mean, the thing is pretty dang cool, even in spite of the few problems I've had with it. And when you ride this thing as hard as I do, I expect to have a few problems. So guys, that's it. I'm gonna ride out. See you guys next time.